Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Normally I talk about stocks, obviously the miners, miner productions, ASIC miners, all that stuff. But I'm also trying to get into housing rentals. So I want to buy a house and rent it out. And I saw a video from Andrei Jikh. He posted it on Friday, I believe. So I wanted to take a look at the video here, which he talks about buying this house, how much he's paying for it. And I've done some analysis on it because I've been kind of doing analysis on the houses that I'm looking at to possibly purchase within the next couple months. Just trying to get a feel for it, doing a lot of research online also, what is profitable, what isn't profitable, what's a good cost of cash on cash return that you want to look at when buying a house. So I thought in this video, I would just kind of go over his numbers and provide some other information as far as what he could have possibly bought. But obviously, I love Andrei Jikh. I love his channel, love a lot of stuff that he does. The only thing that I have with this one is it seems like it's a pretty expensive house to rent out. Obviously, he said he wants to do it for his family, which is great, for his mom and dad when they retire, and that's fantastic. But I think if he went about it a different way with different properties, I think he could have possibly made more money in the short term and in the long run, I think. So we'll get into the numbers here, and we'll obviously digest everything that we have. So let's get into the numbers here, and we'll kind of go over everything. So this is kind of the spreadsheet that I use when evaluating properties as far as how much rent I can make on them, what's the return on those, how much I need to put down, what's the monthly mortgage, what's the possible rent for it, everything else, and kind of compare which one actually makes a little bit better sense or a better deal. So Andrei Jikh's house is number one. And then I put in two different houses here for comparison that are also within the Las Vegas area that you could possibly buy. And we'll just kind of compare those as apples to apples. Obviously, this is not real world examples. These are just possible numbers that could be done with other properties here for Andrei Jikh, just for comparison reasons. And some things that I've also seen here in my own area that I live in. So obviously, Andrei bought the house for $1.33 million, which is quite a bit. He did say that he put down 20% down. That equates to $266,000 being put down on it. Financing is going to be about $1,064,000. He did say that he's getting a 7-year ARM interest rate on it, and it came out to be about 3.25% from what I could figure out. And the mortgage payment on that house is $4,630. Obviously, he can afford it, so it's not a big deal there. Property taxes, he said, are about $880 a month, plus the association in there is like $300 some odd, so that came out to be $1,210. So his total monthly payment is $5,840 on it. He did state that he could rent it out for about $7,000 to $7,500, and net income from that would be about $1,659 if he rented out for $7,000 or $7,500, and annual would be obviously $19,912. So that's a cash-on-cash return of 7.49%, which isn't too bad. But I think from everything that I've learned, read, and watched on YouTube and other places, they typically state that you want to be around 10 to 12, if not higher, cash-on-cash return on your investment as far as the amount of money that you put down. Divide it all by the annual income on that, and that's kind of your cash-on-cash return there. So for that amount, or let's change this to 7,000 really quick, because he did say 7,000 to 7,500. So here's another example. So that's a big difference there. If he rents it out for 7,000, that's only a 5.23% cash-on-cash return, which is pretty low. Obviously, annual income from that would be about almost $14,000 roughly. And given that nothing else happens to the property, nothing breaks, that he has put money into it, then obviously that gets taken out. And that's the reason why I think you want it to go a little bit higher on the information, because at 10 to 12% cost on cash-on-cash return, you would have a little bit more surplus to offset any expenses from things breaking down, having to get things repaired, and it wouldn't eat as much into your actual profits here so much. But let's stick with the 7,500 on here. At the top end line, we'll see where that takes us. So based on that information, you would need somebody that's making basically $300,000 a year in order to rent that out. They would have to be making about $144 per hour on average if they work 8-hour work week or 8-hour day, 40-hour work week. But normally people with these high incomes work a lot more, but they would have to make at least $144, whether it's a single or a family. So two people living together would have to make at least, on average, about $72 per hour to earn that. So about $150,000 a piece, roughly. That is obviously going to take a little hit as far as who you can rent this out to, right? So here's, nope, not that one. Where did it go? Right there. Okay. So here is some information from Statista, percentage distribution of household incomes in the U.S. in 2020. And we can see here that 200,000 and over, it's only about 10.3% of the population. Whereas if you get into, obviously, the lower amounts here, you have a lot more people that can fit into that rental property possibly. So if we look at the numbers here on house number 2 for comparison, so if you bought like an $84,000 that need a little bit fixing up, maybe $10,000 to add into it to fix it up. But it's like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So like a starter house you can rent out for somebody. Putting 20% down on that, you're only spending $16,800. If you have to put in any money to fix it up, you may be looking at another $5,000 into it to $10,000 at the most. Financing, you'll be financing $67,000. Interest rate that we're going to keep it the same. Mortgage payments come out to be $292 a month. Property taxes, I'm calculating, I think this is 2% of the home value, which in some places might be even less than that. So we're at $140 a month. That equates to about $1,500 a year on property taxes. Monthly payments would be about $432. Obviously, a big difference there from the $5,840 here. And you could possibly rent those out for about $650 to like $800 anywhere in that range. I'm just using $700 as the average here on that. Net income from that would obviously be $267, but here's the interesting part. The annual would be $3.2 thousand, but you're getting a cash-on-cash return of 19.11%, which is obviously a lot better than on this property here. And if anything breaks in this property, it's not going to be as expensive as anything in this property for the most part. I mean, if the fridge breaks down in this part, the fridge that he showed in there was a built-in fridge, was beautiful, but it's probably going to cost $10,000 to $15,000 to replace that sucker if anything happens to it, or if it breaks down and you can't get it fixed. So those are the, obviously, drawbacks of owning such a beautiful property and such an expensive property. With here, if the fridge breaks down here, you're spending $1,000 or something like that if that happens. So 19.11% cash-on-cash return, which is really good. Required income to rent this property out would be about $28,000. So that gets us to 28. You got 8.1% here. You got 11.6% that can rent it out here. You can also get people from the 50 to 75,000 range. That would be about, you almost have 30% of the population that could rent this out compared to 10% here. So that's something also to keep in mind as well. Going back here, so now we're looking at if you still wanted to invest this amount into it, the way I did it is how many of these homes could he buy, or the number 3 homes as well. And we'll get into that in the middle down here section. So home number 3, just for comparison, had he bought a home that was like $330,000, this is like a regular 3-bedroom, 3 to 4 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house. 20% down, you're looking at $66,000 down payment. Financing would be $264,000. Mortgage payment would be about $1,150 roughly. Property taxes, and you're at about $1,700 to rent that property out. You could rent this out, and I'm using the average here of about $2,300 on it. You could probably, depending on the area and places like that, you could probably get a little bit more or a little bit less, but on average, you're looking at about $2,300. Net income from that would be about $601. And the annual would be $7,200, and the cash-on-cash return would be 10.93, which is obviously better than this property here. So required income to rent out property number 3 would be about $92,000, $44 per hour, and that gets us to anybody that is above this price range. So 92, so you're looking at 75. So you got 12% here of the population, 15. You're almost at 30% of the population here that could possibly rent this property out. Compared to the only 10.3%, if not even less than that, once you get into the higher amounts of 300,000 or more that's required for it. So taking that all into account, I wanted to see how he would do if he actually rented out or bought multiple properties instead of one single high-value property. So that comes to, you could possibly buy 15 of these types of properties, starter homes, 2 bedrooms, one bath, and Possible annual income for that would be, if bottom all, you're still spending the same amount as far as down payment or close to that. But the possible annual income on that would be about $48,000 compared to the $19,000 here. That's a huge chunk of change that's different on it. It's a basically $28,000 difference in annual income. So from just a financing and financial standpoint, I think this type of property, even this type of property, would be a better investment than obviously the large multi-million-dollar house, right, to rent out. That's just kind of my thinking on it. Let me know what you guys think of this as well down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But if we go over it for the next 5 years, he's looking to make about $100,000 on this property if nothing breaks on it. He doesn't have to do any repairs on it or anything like that. He's looking to make about $100,000 on this one. Had he bought the 15 properties here, he's looking to make about $240,000. And if he bought 4 of those at $330,000, he's looking to make about $144,000. So he's still better, obviously, with these two than the original purchase that he did. Now, if we increase the value of the homes by 2% per year for 5 years, you're looking at a value for the house that he bought at about $1.46 million. Combine that with the income that he's made on it, so he's at $1.5 million, $1.56 million on it. And then on the 15 homes, that value would go up to about $1.39 million, which is obviously less than here a little bit. But if you add the income and everything else to it, you're looking at $1.63 million total. And then for the 4 homes at $330,000, you're looking at $1.457, which is pretty close to the value here gained as well. And you're at a total of $1.6 million. So obviously an increase of about $40,000 or so. So total possible income after 5 years would be $237 on the home that he bought right now. Had you bought the other homes, you'd be at $371,000. Wait a minute, I did something wrong here. I'm looking at the price. What am I doing here? We're taking E25 minus E3 and multiplying it by E20. I think I screwed up on something like this, but so never mind this part here. I made a mistake here. So total after 5 years, you're obviously way up on the 15 homes here and second on this one. I think these types of homes that are pretty expensive, around the, above 1 million or something like that, excuse me, I think that they would do far better if they were like a vacation rental property, especially like in wherever you're on a beach, places that attract a lot of vacationers that have families that bring in multiple families together, and you go in there and you rent out a house for a week and you end up paying $3,000, $4,000, $7,000 for a vacation rental property. I think that's where those high property value homes make the most sense, at least to me. I could be wrong. Let me know if you guys think otherwise. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is such a high-priced value, high-priced home at $1.3 million, I think would be better off being bought down in the Gulf, someplace in Florida, even Texas, California, or something like that, where you can get that vacation rental income, which is a lot more than you would from just regular renters on it. I think that's where it makes more sense compared to just buying a house and renting it out. But let me know what you guys think of this. This is just kind of my thoughts on it. Like I said, I'm looking to get into home rentals as well. So I've been doing a lot of research and doing a lot of math on these types of homes, trying to figure out what is the best, cash and cash return. Obviously, I can put the money into the markets. I can put it into Bitcoin. I can put it into the miners and things like that. But I want to diversify a little bit as well. So then eventually grow that portfolio of homes as well over, the next 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is before I retire. And then I got something else to pass on along to my 2 sons. And hopefully they'll have, a better life than I did, and than my parents did, and my grandparents did. So that's kind of always the goal here, is to each generation be better off than the previous generation. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Love to hear you guys' thoughts there, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,